real promise. He knew that much because every vehicle had a placard on the dash with the name printed on it. Filming wasn't done in any sequence that allowed perception of a story. Movies weren't a cushy way to go. Long hours and hard work. Today, they'd started at 6 a.m., which meant he'd started at 6 a.m. It was now after 1. Temperature 90, humidity 90, and the hot wind that blew in was more irritating than welcome. It was so hot, he wondered they didn't all pop off of heat stroke. Being from California, maybe they could survive anything. He smacked the fly feasting on the back of his neck as his mind played through who he might get to swap duty time with. Could he get away with that? It might nettle the chief. She wasn't exactly all sunshine these days. "Officer?" Startled, Yancey turned. He hadn't heard her slip through the small door behind him. Laura Edwards. Big-time actress. The star. Oh yeah, one cool cop. There she was, remote fantasy from the movie screen standing right beside him. In the flesh. Spectacular flesh. Up to now, he'd only seen her at a distance, on the set, or disappearing into her town car. She was beautiful. Small, maybe 5'2", with hair of pale gold that dazzled like sunlight on new snow, and blue eyes, the soft warm blue of a Kansas sky on a spring morning. A body that only Hollywood could dream up, taut and tawny and ripe. He clasped his hands behind his back, lest they stray of their own accord toward all that female lushness. "They're looking for you," he said. "They can look." Director Pfeiffer, still on the raised platform, bellowed for the harried Clem who was nowhere to be seen. "Will you, for God's sake, tell them to get her up here?" They'd been using the platform to shoot a bad guy menaces heroin scene in the hayloft. Villain had caught the beautiful Laura and had her bent backward over the railing. Whether to send her falling to her death or choke the life out of her hadn't been clear. Since she was the heroine, the murder most likely wasn't of her. Before lunch, hours had been spent setting up lights with a photo double hanging head down over the railing. Pfeiffer, up on the platform, peering at a monitor, issued instructions that resulted in minute changes in the position of lights, or cameras, or various appendages of the hapless female upside down over the railing, and ditto the villain, primarily his hands around her throat. After achieving whatever effect he was striving for, Pfeiffer had called for Laura Edwards to drape her beautiful form exactly as the stand-in had been. Therein followed more minute moving of appendages. Hours later, all was perfection. "Roll cameras. Speed. Scene 24, take 1. Action." Before anything much happened, a young female with a clipboard trotted onto the set. Pfeiffer called, "Cut!" An argument ensued. Pfeiffer got irate. The female stayed implacable. "Now what?" Yancey asked his Teamster buddy. Mac grinned. "It's been 6 hours." "Only 6? "Contract. A break after 6 hours, or the pay goes up at 30-minute intervals. Meal penalty. Pfeiffer's way over budget already. He can't afford more." Polaroid pictures were taken of Laura and the villain from every conceivable angle, and then Pfeiffer called a lunch break. The barn couldn't have emptied out faster if he'd shouted fire. After the break, they all trooped back except Ms. Laura Edwards. She was not on the rail, and Pfeiffer was royally pissed. Now she was standing right by Yancey. She put an index finger, feather light, on his forearm and looked up at him long and intensely. "I'd like you to do me a favor." Her voice was low with promise. The spot beneath her finger was warm as a downy duck. What might she want from him? She smelled like fresh air and wildflowers. In her tight black pants and scoop-necked white blouse, she looked ready for a romp in the hayloft. But not with the likes of him. We're talking light years away. So what's with all this luminous intensity? Obviously she wanted something from him. The question was, what? He'd been with this bunch since they'd rolled into town, and she'd ignored him so far. She hadn't gotten a speeding or